and welcome to The Buddha and the Coach, powered by Soul Performance Academy. I am your host, Dan Mickle. The Buddha and the Coach is a weekly vlog focused on looking at the teachings of the Buddha in a coaching light. The Buddha and the Coach is proud to be sponsored by It's Called Normal Athletics, ICN Athletics, making the ordinary extraordinary through adaptive beach volleyball. Everyone should have the opportunity to play the great sport of beach volleyball, and ICN Athletics provides the programs and the educations to make it normal for adaptive athletes to play on a court anywhere. For more information or to make a donation to the 501c3, please visit icnathletics.com. Thanks to John and Dave and everyone over at ICN Athletics. It's Called Normal Athletics for their support of this vlog and everything they do. It's amazing, so please, if you have the time, click on it, check them out. All right, this week's teaching is lesson 26, and the Buddha said, people with opinions just go around bothering each other. And we see this all the time in the coaching world, correct? Everyone has an opinion about everything, whether it's peer-to-peer from another coach or from administration or parents and players. Everyone seems to be offering up their opinions. And while it's obviously pretty blunt in this statement, what the Buddha is saying, basically that just because you have an opinion doesn't mean that you have to share it because you're just going to end up bothering someone else. I think for me, one of the bigger takeaways is looking at it big picture and saying we don't have to accept those opinions. Just like when we work on mindfulness and we recognize that we're having thoughts, and instead of putting any time and effort and energy, we just say, oh, yep, there's the thought, and we go on and we continue to work and try and stay in the present. I think that's kind of what the Buddha is saying here. It's not so much attack on people having opinions. It's more about looking at why do we even take the time and put any value in those opinions. So how do we separate that, right? It's really tough as a coach. A lot of times you're at a tournament or in a match or in a game and things aren't going well. Everyone's going to start giving their opinions and you can get flooded with it. And the key really is you have to look at who your stakeholders are and who you're surrounding yourself with. Those are the opinions that matter. This isn't saying that no opinions matter. It just means that you need to trust those around you, whether it's your assistants, whether it's certain players. Obviously, sometimes you have players that are really tuned in with what's going on the team and the surroundings, and they are a great resource for their opinion. But you can't take the opinion of everyone around you, or it's going to be like that scene from Superman where he's in outer space and he can hear everyone's thoughts and he kind of starts to go crazy. If you start to try and listen to, even if you try to block out and put all that energy in of blocking out those opinions, it can be maddening. So the key is to just recognize, yep, I'm getting an opinion, and that's it. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to counter it. Don't try to justify it. Just move on. And then really begin to look at, okay, this is my assistant, or these are the stakeholders that I really trust. What are they saying? So it's about filtering out those opinions that matter. Again, I get it. There's going to be times, there's going to be heated parents, heated players that are going to give you a lot of opinions. Again, just recognize that you're getting an opinion and move on. Don't go toe to toe. Don't go fact to fact. Obviously, at some point, if it becomes really toxic, you're going to have to address it and look at it. But for the most part, people just want to vent and get their opinions heard. They're not usually looking for a resolution. Heck, they're probably not even having any real expectation of change happening. They're literally just want to vent and maybe get their energy out. So that's why they're offering up their opinion. So too many times I think we look at those situations where someone's just venting or just wants to say it out loud because it makes them feel better. We think that we need to justify it or look at it or fight against it, and we don't. Again, just recognize it and move on. We really don't have to spend a ton of time on them. I know it can also be tough, just blocking out all that stuff, but that's part of the job and part of what we have to do as coaches. The flip side of this is, as a coach, do we offer our opinion up too much? And that can also be really tough. You can be a coach watching another team play and you see things that you think that you could adjust. If you truly want to help another team or coach, instead of just throwing out the opinion, just start with asking if they're open for that. Don't just give your opinion. Ask them if they're open for that. Simply start the conversation. Hey, would you be open for some suggestions? And if they say no, fine, walk away. But don't just start off and saying, hey, have you tried to do this? And you might want to do this. A lot of times I'll find that when you're around other coaches and they really do want an opinion, they're going to ask, hey, what did you see? Or, is there anything that you can think we can do? The thing is, and when we flip it back to the Buddha script and this lesson where he says goes around bothering each other, to me that says that's just unsolicited going around. So when you are a coach, don't be afraid to offer your opinion, but first make sure someone's ready to receive it. Don't just throw it out there. Chances are a lot of times what you're about to say, that coach may already know, and they're either hoping someone else can confirm it like you, or they know why it won't work, and then they get frustrated when people keep telling them to do this. Oh, you should try this and you should try that. We have to be careful that we want to jump in and help so bad, and we want to grow the sport and grow the game and help things, that often we actually make it a little bit worse by just piling on and giving too much information and too much stuff for another coach or even another player to deal with. So again, just like if you've ever heard any of my conversations or talks about conflict resolution, you want to start by making sure the other party's ready to receive it. So if you feel like you really do need to give your opinion, first check to make sure that who you're giving it to is ready to hear it. Because timing is everything when it comes to opinions, and your valid points may fall on deaf ears if it's not at an opportune time for the receiver of that or for the other coach. So again, the takeaways from this lesson for me are, first is ignore all the chatter around you. Remember who you trust and go to them. Now, that's, again, not saying that you should just build this little fortress up in an echo chamber and those are the only people you listen to, but make sure you know the value that someone brings when they're offering their opinion, or are they just saying it because that's what they see and they really don't know what's going on. And then the second side is, if you're going to offer your opinion, make sure that the other side is ready to receive it and you're not just going around blurting out your opinions. All right, that is it for this week's episode of The Buddha and the Coach. Remember, you can reach out to us across all social medias at Real Dan Mickle, or you can reach Soul Performance Academy at 717Soul. Peace, much love, don't suck, and we will see you next week for lesson 27 of The Buddha and the Coach.